Welcome to week 6 of Fantasy Happy Hour. We're still rolling here, Taryn. Big week out there because we finally got a Texans win. Big week. And all it took was a firing of the GM coach, put Romeo Crennel in there, and things are looking great. I think we might go 14, 12, and 4. That's what we're going to go. That's straight W's now. I can feel it. Interesting week this week because, no Thursday night game, 2 games Monday. I feel like we're going to have to adapt like this for the whole year as more and more COVID happens. Maybe not, but I'm thinking that's kind of the case right now. But let's just, jump into some Sunday slate here. What are you thinking?
Looking at this slate overall, I don't see as many shootouts as I did last week. Last week there was a bunch of games you could target, like the Kansas City and Vegas game. There was, I think, 3 more with huge totals. This week I see about 2, and I think they're going to be the high targeted games, Atlanta, Minnesota. So I got to see my Vikings give us hope that we were going to beat the Seahawks, probably the best team in the league, and then they don't kick the field goal, and then they lose when Russell goes 95 yards. But that's besides the point. And then I see a game in the Green Bay and the Bucks. That looks like it's going to be the late game hammer. It's at 1:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, so that's Eastern. So check that one out. That's going to be that should be the high scoring game and probably the highest targeted game for everyone. And then there's lots of good defensive games. Browns, Steelers, 2 of the best defenses so far this season, and then Ravens, Eagles, again, both great defenses. And then we're going to see Dak. Well, Dak's now out. That was gruesome. And so we're going to see Andy Dalton come in. It doesn't look like McCaffrey's going to be back, but it looks like Adams will be back this week. And same with Michael Thomas, but I'm not sure if they're on buys. I know that Mike Davis is going to get one more week as everybody's favorite running back for Carolina. And then, so let's just start right in at QBs. Overall, I see 2 that I liked right off the bat. Fitzpatrick, going back to him, he looked great last week. He crushed San Francisco, and I did not see that game at all going that route. San Francisco couldn't get anything moving, and with that one quarterback out, they just kept picking on him. And they were, I think Fitzpatrick threw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. He's been averaging about 24 DK points, and they don't really have a running back, so they've been just pass-heavy offense, so you can stack them kind of all over. And then the other game I think will be high-targeted is Matt Stafford versus Jacksonville for the Detroit Lions. He's always passing at least 30 to 40 times a game. Good matchup against a poor secondary, and then they don't really have a running back either, so I'm kind of targeting 2 quarterbacks that don't really have a running game, so I don't know. Do you like going to Kirk Cousins here without Dalvin Cook? Because that's big news. Dalvin Cook won't be playing this week.
I don't think it's a. I think if he's out, then it's going to be, I think, a good pickup on your part. I just don't know. It's hard. Are you going Thielen or Justin Jefferson, or you just going one of them? If you pick the right one and they're going to get all the targets, then you're probably going to make a safe play. For QBs, I really liked Matt Stafford as well. I thought that was a good option. The other one I'm interested is Jimmy Garoppolo. Why are you laughing?
He got pulled last game. I don't know if you saw that against Miami. He got pulled for 3 picks and 2 fumbles.
Yeah, everyone deserves to come back. He's going to be low owned. You got to go for. Are we going for the big W's here, Taryn, or are we just going for mediocrity?
I don't know, Justin. Got to go for it, I guess. That's the Sunday nighter, though. So.
Oh, did I pick a Sunday nighter?
I think so.
Oh yeah, you're right. I did. That's my fault. Another one here too is, and you could probably give me a better insight on this one, is Washington versus New York. I don't know what the play would be, but I have a feeling if you could take one of the QBs, that might be someone's got to win that game. So.
Yeah, and they're cheap, right? Like you save so much salary if you just pick one of them. I'd probably lean to the Giants side of that game.
Daniel Jones?
Just because Daniel Jones actually did throw pretty well against the Cowboys last week, and then he really looks to like Slayton. So if you're going to pick a wide out there, pick Slayton. But I asked you the Cousins question because I was going to trigger into my running backs, but I'm actually leaning Alexander Mattison, the backup to Dalvin Cook for the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota runs the ball a ton. That's all they do. They throw maybe 20, 25 times a game, and I think both running backs in that game had almost 20 touches. So they were running the ball the majority of their offense, and Madison came in, I think, after Cook got hurt in the second quarter, and he ran for over 100 yards in that game. So the Minnesota Vikings just lean on the run, and then you'll get the deep ball every once in a while. So I like going to him, but DK priced him up to, I think, 7,200. So he's the third highest priced running back, but he does get Atlanta, who just loses to the running back every week. So, and then I actually went to one of those Washington football team guys, Antonio Gibson, at 5,500. He gets the Giants this week, and the Giants just haven't been great, and they just lost one of their linebackers for the season. He gets a lot of work in the passing game, a lot of screens and stuff too. He's almost put up 100 yards in like his last 2 games through the air, and he's the goal line guy. They do have J.D. McKissick, who kind of comes in and plays that third down role, but Gibson's getting a lot of passing in the first and second downs, and really that team just has Terry McLaurin and Gibson and very little weapons to work with, so I'd probably go there. Do you like King Henry this week? I had him written down first, and then I backed off.
Like Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
No, not really, because short week for them. So, I mean, obviously, like, he's one of those plays that's usually pretty safe anyways. Like, he's probably going to get you 20 fantasy points. I wouldn't be putting him on all of my lineups this week just because they just played tonight, right? But I like Todd Gurley this week. I think he could eat up the Vikings defense there. He had a good week last week, so not really 100% sure on how that'll stack up week over week here. The other one I was interested in probably playing in a few of my lineups was Montgomery against Panthers there. But yeah, did you have anything for wide receivers?
Both the wide receivers I wrote down were stacks with the quarterbacks I picked. So if I'm going with Stafford, I'm going to go with Kenny Golladay. He's only played 2 games this year, but he's catching a touchdown a game. He's their red zone guy, and he's an awesome receiver. He catches everything deep, and he's really good when they get in the end zone. So I expect a touchdown and some big yards against Jacksonville. And then Preston Williams for Miami. The coach talked him up about they need to get him more targets moving forward, and then last week he went 4 for 108 and a touchdown on 5 targets. So they use him a lot in the red zone, and he's getting kind of talked up that they need to use him more. So those are the 2 guys I leaned on, and I just kind of stacked them with the quarterbacks.
What do you think about doing a Cam Newton stack this week against the Broncos with either Edelman or any of the other receivers, really?
I just don't see the game being competitive. So if I'm going to play Cam Newton, I'd probably play him by himself, to be honest. They're going to lean on the run, and your best bet with Cam is that he's going to maybe throw for 150, but he's going to rush for 60, 70, 80, and 2 touchdowns. So I actually like him more by himself because I can't see Denver keeping that game competitive.
And what about T.Y. Hilton and Phillip Rivers?
Phillip Rivers he finally had that game I was talking about, and I think the defense down. Oh no, I didn't pick them this week. I was thinking about taking the Bengals defense this week as a cheap option, but I don't like Rivers. He's like a dump off quarterback. He doesn't have a deep ball. Him and T.Y. finally kind of found each other, but I have a pick off the Colts here further down in the tight end section that I like more in that game with Rivers, just because Rivers doesn't have the arm anymore. There was talk today that they should trade for Matt Ryan because that team's missing a quarterback.
The other wide receiver I'd thrown in, big week last week too, was Robbie Anderson. It could be an interesting. I just think that game could go. I don't know. To me, it's a coin toss, but yeah, maybe moving on to your tight ends here for Sunday. Give us a breakdown of what you got. I know last week we had some ones that did pretty darn good, although our lineups were shit for the most part.
Yeah, well, so overall it wasn't great, the picks last week, but in the tight end pool, I think when it's not broke, don't try to fix it with Robert Tonyan this week again. He's getting every red zone look from Rogers, and Rogers looks like he's just playing with fun now. Like it's like he's got fun money and he's just throwing it around. They get a tough defense against the Bucks, but the Bucks just haven't looked that great. They're good against the run, which makes me not like Aaron Jones, which means I like Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan more. And I just think you target Tonyan and keep riding him until he kind of starts to fizzle a bit. And then the tight end I really like that's kind of cheaper, 3,100, Trey Burton came back for the Colts. And since he's been back for 2 games, he's ran the most routes of all the tight ends. And you actually saw Mo Ali Cox, I think, go for 1 route last week, and Jack Doyle go for none. So like he's now the tight end that they're running routes with, and he was always known as more of a receiving tight end than a blocking tight end. He's a smaller guy. So they're going to move, I think, to that role where he's going to be the dump-off guy for Rivers and be in there most of the passing work. So he was kind of a cheaper option I like this week. What about you? Do you have any tight ends? Johnny's performing tonight, but whether you go back or not is up to you.
Well, anyone who's been following more than 2 minutes of this, like you said, don't fix what isn't broken. I tried to fix what I thought was broken, and my guy D Fells got a bunch of fantasy points at a super cheap price just because Akins is out. That could happen again this week. Again, I might have to just play it until it works one of these weeks, because apparently when I stop it doesn't. Another one going off of my quarterback there is Jimmy Graham. If I'm going to be going with Nick Foles, do that. Nice little stack. And then the other one too is I think I picked him last week, but Noah Fant, just because who knows how that game's going to go. Any of these toss-up ones, I feel like this week there's quite a few coin flip games. And so we're just kind of, I don't know. This week will be a lot of like variations of lineups. Not as many previous weeks. We've really focused on maybe 3 or 4 core guys, and I think this one is just build, and you're bound to hopefully hit something.
Yeah, and last week, if you looked at it, the top 2 receivers were guys you probably hadn't heard of. You had Fulgham for Philly. I think he was the second best receiver, and then Chase Claypool for the Steelers now, I guess, is the number 1 receiver in Steelers world, catching 4 touchdowns. Well, sorry, he ran for 1, but 4 total touchdowns in the game. But yeah, if we go to defenses, just a brief touch on that. The Colts defense I like against the Bengals. The Bengals got destroyed last week by the Ravens. The Ravens put up 26 DK points. They were almost better than 90% of players, I think, almost probably 95% of players overall. And Burrow's O-line in Cincy's horrible. They can't stop anything. You're kind of just walking by them, and the Colts D has been probably one of the best in the league. So I think it's just easy, but they're pretty expensive. And then if you go down, I like the Dolphins defense actually in Denver. They've just looked good to me. I've watched quite a few of their games, caught a few of their highlights, and Xavier Howard's back now in the corner position. They look strong. They're getting to the quarterback quite a bit too. And I think their other cornerback might be back soon. I forget his name off the top. So they might be playing with a full arsenal, and they get the Jets, I believe, or is it Denver? They get Denver this week. And so that's an easy matchup. And, I mean, you might as well just ride it.
Yeah, I like either of the Browns or Steelers in that game. Even though it's going to be a shootout, like, you get 1 return touchdown, it'll be worth it. And I feel like that one's just kind of, both defenses are pretty darn good as it is, so you'll probably get a handful of sacks and maybe turnovers. Going down the list, though, of maybe a cheaper option, which this will probably be definitely a coin flip, is taking the Bengals against the Colts. So $2,100 if you're really hurting on salary, that might not hurt. You could also dip, and I know this is going to be up your alley, is you could probably take the Vikings too at $2,300 versus Atlanta. That might be another okay pick.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about Minnesota's defense is they just got that one cornerback. He's a rookie out of, I forget his name now. And when DK Metcalf ran that route in the final drive, he like didn't even stay with the ball. He just he ran by and then couldn't stop his feet. And then Metcalf just turned around and caught the ball. And I was like, really? Like, you're not even gonna like hand fight? Nothing.
Just let him run.
I just think they need time to grow those two cornerbacks there, because they just don't have a cornerback who can play really right now.
Harsh lesson learned, but that's week 6 Sunday. If you still like it, you're still following, subscribe, comment, let us know you're out there. This last video did pretty good compared to the week 5 one, the Sunday Monday night one. Got some traction, so that was reassuring. But anything else you want to add?
No, just feel free to take shots in these latter weeks. Now you're going to see a lot of injuries. Now we're into week 6 now. You're going to see a lot of guys sitting out. You're going to see a lot of guys coming back. But watch teams start to grow their rookies into like main targets. Henry Ruggs, Chase Claypool. You look for some of these guys to maybe toss in at a cheap price, because give them another 2 weeks, they're going to be so expensive that you won't be able to play them anymore.
Great input. And on that note, bye-bye.
Adios.